The wind across the frozen tundra does not care if your skin is torn. The stars, cold and distant, do not blink when you fall. You expected a hearth, a place of warmth and loyalty, but instead, you found the sting of a blade hidden in a silk sleeve. She has hurt you. Perhaps she betrayed your oath, or perhaps she simply walked away while your back was turned, leaving you to bleed in the silence of an empty hall. The world expects you to howl. It expects you to fall to your knees, to beg for a reason, or to let your rage burn down everything you've built. But a true warrior knows that fire without control only leaves ashes, and a man who begs for love is already a slave. If your spirit feels like a fortress under siege, if the walls are cracking under the weight of a betrayal you never saw coming, listen to the echo of the iron within you. Most men will crumble. They will seek comfort in the very hands that struck them. But you are here because you sense a different path, the path of the mountain, unmoving and indifferent to the storm. If you are ready to forge your pain into a weapon of absolute self-mastery, stay with me until the final ember dies. If you wish to walk this narrow trail among those who refuse to be mastered by anyone but themselves, consider joining our ranks. This is not about a channel. It is about your own commitment to the steel in your soul. We are building a brotherhood of the unbroken. The wound is fresh and the blood is hot. Your instinct is to roar at the sky, to demand justice from the gods, or to strike back with the same venom that was poured into your cup. But look at the wolf that has been trapped in the winter frost. If it thrashes and bites at the air, it only exhausts its strength while the cold settles into its marrow. To show your hurt is to give your power away. Every tear, every desperate message, every drunken plea for an explanation is a tribute you pay to the one who struck you. You are handing her the keys to your internal citadel, allowing her to see that she has the capacity to move the foundations of your world. In the ancient codes, a warrior's greatest asset was not his axe, but his indifference. If a woman hurts you, whether through the coldness of her heart or the treachery of her actions, the most devastating weapon you possess is your silence. It is the silence of the deep forest before a storm. It is the silence of the stone that does not feel the rain. When you refuse to react, you reclaim your sovereignty. You signal to the universe and to her that your inner peace is not a commodity that can be bought or broken by another's whim. She expects a reaction. She expects to see the cracks in your armor because it validates her influence over you. By remaining a monolith, you turn the blade back toward the source. You are not being cruel. You are being immovable. You are asserting that your value is not tied to her presence or her approval. The throne of your mind has only one seat, and you are the only one fit to occupy it. If she chooses to leave or to wound, she has simply forfeited her place in the shadow of your greatness. Do not mistake your stillness for death. The deepest rivers are those that make the least noise as they carve through the mountain. When the heart is pierced by the one who held the map to its vulnerabilities, the natural response is to collapse, to seek the warmth of the fire you once shared. But that fire has turned to ice. To chase a ghost is to lose your way in the mist. You must understand that her actions are a reflection of her own internal chaos, her own shifting tides, and her own limitations. They are not a verdict on your worth. A king does not lose his crown because a subject fails to bow. The pain you feel is merely the friction of your old self being stripped away. It is the sensation of the forge. If you can stand in the center of that heat without flinching, you become something that cannot be easily broken again. Most men spend their lives building their houses on the shifting sands of another person's affection. When the tide comes, and the tide always comes, their walls crumble. But you are learning to build upon the bedrock of your own character. This transition is violent. It is the death of the boy who needed to be loved, and the birth of the man who is sufficient unto himself. If this resonates with the iron in your soul, If you feel the weight of this truth, mark this moment. Write "steel" in the comments to signal your resolve to those who walk this path beside you. We are moving deeper into the shadows now, toward the realization that will ensure no one ever has the power to shatter you again. The true test of the blade is not how it cuts, but how it holds its edge when the world tries to snap it. The urge to speak is a trap set by the ego, a snare hidden in the tall grass. You want to tell her how much she hurt you, to make her understand the depth of the betrayal, or perhaps to hurl insults that mirror the jagged edges of your own heart. But listen closely. To explain is to submit. Every word you utter in your own defense is a confession that she still holds the scepter of your emotions. You are standing in the wreckage of a broken bond, and the vultures of self-doubt are circling. If you speak, you feed them. If you remain silent, they find no purchase on your spirit and eventually fly elsewhere. In the wild, a wounded predator does not crawl back to the one who bit it to ask why. It retreats into the darkness of a cave, licks its wounds in silence, and emerges stronger, or it dies with its dignity intact. You must become that creature of the depths. The world tells you that communication is the key. But in the realm of respect and power, silence is the only language that cannot be misinterpreted. When she looks for the fire of your anger and finds only the cold ashes of your indifference, she realizes she has lost the ability to affect you. That realization is more potent than 1,000 shouted words. You are not hiding your pain, you are refusing to give it a stage. You are hoarding your energy, keeping the heat of your soul for your own survival, rather than wasting it on a ghost who no longer walks your path. This is the discipline of the Iron Age, to be hurt and yet to remain as unreadable as the surface of a frozen lake. Beneath that ice, your true strength is gathering, hardening into something that no longer requires the validation of a soft word or a loyal gaze. You are reclaiming the territory of your mind, one silent breath at a time. The silence that follows a betrayal is a heavy, suffocating fog. In the halls where laughter once echoed, there is now only the sound of your own breathing and the crackle of a dying hearth. Most men are terrified of this quiet. They rush to fill the emptiness with the company of lesser spirits, or they drown their senses in the fermented grain of distraction. They are like children afraid of the dark, seeking any hand to hold, so they do not have to face the ghost of who they were. But you must embrace this cold. You must sit in the center of your ruined temple and realize that the walls were not the god. You are the god of this space. When she hurt you, she did not take away your power. She merely revealed that you had placed it in her hands like a fragile bird. Now that she has crushed it or let it fly away, you are left with empty palms. This is the moment of the great return. You are returning to your own skin, to the raw, unadorned reality of your existence as a lone hunter on the ridge. A man who cannot find peace in his own solitude is a man whose joy is a loan that can be called in at any moment. You are ending that debt. You are declaring that your happiness is not a hostage. Look at the stars above the jagged peaks. They do not ask for permission to shine. They do not mourn when the clouds obscure them. They simply are. If you feel the strength returning to your limbs as you accept this isolation, then you are beginning to understand the code of the iron-hearted. If you find value in these words, it is because they echo a truth you've always known, but were too afraid to whisper. This path is for the few, for those who choose the cold clarity of the mountain over the warm lies of the valley. Stay focused, for the hardest part of the forge is yet to come. The specters of what used to be will haunt the perimeter of your camp at night. They will whisper of the soft moments, the promises made in the heat of the sun, and the comfort of a shared tent. They want you to look back. They want you to turn your head just long enough for the cold to slip inside your coat. But a man who looks back while walking through a mountain pass will eventually tumble into the abyss. You must treat her memory like a fallen soldier on a battlefield. Honor what was real, but do not linger over the corpse while the war still rages. The war is now for your own soul, and the enemy is the weakness that begs for things to be as they were. Take that agony, that jagged glass in your chest, and press it against the grindstone of your purpose. If she left you for another, if she lied, or if she simply grew cold, let that be the fuel for your fire. Do not waste it on resentment. Resentment is a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. Instead, use that energy to reconstruct your own temple. Train your body until the muscles scream louder than your heart. Forge your mind through the study of the ancients and the mastery of your craft. When a man is obsessed with his own becoming, he has no time to mourn the loss of someone who was merely a season in his life. You are becoming a force of nature, and nature does not pause to ask why the leaves fall. It simply prepares for the winter and grows stronger in the spring. You are not just surviving this, you are being refined by it. The man you were had to be destroyed, so the man you are meant to be could rise from the wreckage. If you can feel the shift in your spirit, if you can feel the weight of your own potential beginning to outweigh the weight of your loss, then the transformation has begun. This is where the iron enters the blood. There will come a day when she returns to the gates of your fortress. It may be a message sent in the dead of night, a chance encounter on a dusty road, or a whispered word through a mutual acquaintance. The temptation to open the gates will be like a siren song, pulling at the very fibers of your being. You will want to prove that you are fine, or perhaps you will want to see if the old spark still flickers in the dark. But hear me now. A gate that has been breached once is a gate that can never be fully trusted again. To let back in someone who knowingly struck at your heart is not an act of mercy. It is an act of self-betrayal. A warrior does not invite the enemy back into the mead hall just because the winter is long and the nights are lonely. You must maintain the boundary you have built. This is not about arrogance. It is about the preservation of your essence. If you allow her back without a profound transformation on her part, and even then, with extreme caution, you tell your own subconscious that your suffering was cheap. You tell the world that your boundaries are made of straw rather than iron. You must be prepared to walk the rest of the way alone if the alternative is a peace that requires the sacrifice of your self-respect. Think on this deeply. Have you ever seen a mountain move for a passing breeze? Have you ever seen the sea apologize for its tides? Your life must have that same quality of inevitability. You are moving toward a horizon she can no longer see. If this realization hits you like a hammer on an anvil, let it shape you. Reflect on those in your life who truly deserve to sit at your table. This journey is about filtering out the dross to find the gold. If you feel this truth in your gut, stay with me. The final revelation is drawing near. The secret that the weak never learn is that pain is the ultimate mentor. It is a brutal teacher, one that uses a whip instead of a tongue, but its lessons are permanent. When she hurt you, she unknowingly handed you a mirror. In that mirror, you saw the cracks in your own armor, your dependencies, your need for external validation, the ways you neglected your own growth to cultivate hers. Use this revelation. Do not look at her betrayal as a tragedy. Look at it as a divine intervention. The universe has stripped away a comfort that was making you soft, forcing you to find the strength you would have otherwise left dormant. Consider the oak tree. Its roots only go as deep as the storms demand. Without the wind that threatens to uproot it, the tree would remain shallow and fragile. You are that oak. This storm was not sent to destroy you, but to compel your roots to find the deep, hidden waters of your own resilience. Every night you spend alone, every morning you wake up and choose discipline over despair, you are sinking those roots deeper into the earth. You are becoming a landmark in the lives of others. a man who cannot be swayed, a man who knows exactly who he is without needing a woman's reflection to tell him. The world is full of men who are adrift, lost in the currents of their own emotions, begging for a port to harbor them. You have decided to become the harbor. You have decided that no matter how the seas churn, you will remain the fixed point on the map. This is the ultimate victory. It is not about finding someone new, nor is it about her regret. It is about the moment you realize that you are enough. The silence of your hall is no longer empty. It is full of your own presence, your own purpose, and your own unyielding spirit. The world will try to pull you back into its drama, inviting you to the feast of the bitter and the broken. People will ask you how you are, looking for the telltale signs of your collapse. They want to see the fire in your eyes dimmed, the iron in your step replaced by the shuffle of defeat. Do not give them the satisfaction. When they look at you, let them see a man who has walked through the flames and come out the other side with his skin unburned. Your calm should be so profound that it unnerves them. Your focus should be so sharp that it cuts through the petty gossip of the world. This is the mark of a man who has mastered his own heart. You must become a legend in your own life, not for the praise of others, but for the standards you set for yourself. When a woman hurts you, she is simply a character in a story that you are writing. She may have been a protagonist once, but she has now become a lesson, a footnote in the larger epic of your ascension. Do not let the footnote become the whole book. Turn the page. There are vast territories yet to be explored, battles yet to be won, and a legacy to be forged that does not rely on the loyalty of any one person. This is the path of the Stoic warrior. It is a path of solitude, but it is never lonely for the man who is comfortable in his own skin. If you find yourself in the middle of this transformation, looking at the horizon with new eyes, then you are one of us. This is the moment to decide if you are a victim of the past or the architect of the future. The choice is yours, and the clock of your life is ticking. Do not waste another second on the shadows that have already faded. The hammer has fallen, and the sparks that once blinded you have settled into the dust of the arena. You stand now, not as the man who was wounded, but as the iron that was tempered by the strike. Look at your hands, they no longer tremble. Look at your gaze, it no longer searches the horizon for a ship that will never return. You have achieved the rarest of victories. You have conquered your own need for another to make you whole. The woman who hurt you was not an enemy to be defeated, but a whetstone upon which your soul was sharpened. Without her coldness, you might have remained soft, a creature of the lowlands who fears the frost. Now, you are a dweller of the peaks. This is the threshold of a new existence. You are no longer defined by what was taken from you, but by what you have built in the vacuum of that loss. Most men will hear these words and tremble, for they cannot imagine a life without the safety of a tether. They are the cattle of the valley, content to be led as long as the grass is green. But you are of a different breed. You are the lone wolf that the pack fears, because you do not need the pack to survive. If you recognize this fire within yourself, if you are a man who chooses the hard truth over the comfortable lie, then you are exactly where you belong. This philosophy is our banner. It is for those who refuse to be broken by the whims of the heart or the treachery of the world. We are the architects of our own peace, the kings of our own silence. Stand tall, for the final revelation of the iron path is upon us, and it will change the way you see the world forever. The sun rises over the jagged peaks, casting long shadows across the valley you once called home. You are no longer the man who lived there, huddled by a fire that someone else could extinguish with a single breath. The woman who hurt you, the one who thought she could break the vessel of your spirit, has become a distant memory, a ghost fading into the mist of the lowlands. You do not hate her. Hate is a cord that still binds you to the one who struck you, a tether that keeps you anchored to the past. Instead, you feel the cold, clean air of indifference. You have looked into the abyss of your own vulnerability and refused to blink. You have taken the shards of your broken expectations and forged them into a crown of self-sovereignty. This is the ultimate secret of the Iron Heart. The world can only hurt what you allow it to touch. By withdrawing your need for her, you have withdrawn her power to wound. You stand as a monolith, a testament to the strength that can only be found in the silence of one's own company. Your life is no longer a reaction to the actions of others. It is a deliberate march toward a purpose that transcends the petty betrayals of the flesh. You have mastered the art of being unshakable. You have learned that weakness is not the presence of pain, but the surrender to it. To never show weakness is not to be a statue, but to be the mountain that remains when the statue has crumbled. If you have walked this path to its end, you are part of a lineage of men who refuse to be tamed by the storms of emotion. But the forge is never truly cold, and there are many more layers of the soul to be tempered. If you are ready to continue this ascent and delve deeper into the strategies of the unbreakable mind, choose one of the videos appearing on your screen. The journey of the warrior is eternal, and the next revelation awaits those who have the courage to keep climbing. The mountain is yours.